Hey guys, I'd like to talk about accountability, holding yourself accountable and holding others accountable. So, a lot of people, mostly Christians, well, let me just talk to Africans and African Americans. I know there is racism, and most times people don't get the right judgment that we thought they were gonna get. I mean, it's one thing to go online, offline, and rant and post videos. It's another thing to hold people accountable. What do I mean? So, like the Amber Guyver, whatever her name is, the cop that shot the black guy, her boyfriend. Her sentence was not that high, right? Rather than complain and say, "Oh, it's not fair, it's racism," appeal to a higher up. So, because I understand that in law, there's you can appeal to a higher court if you're not comfortable with the decision or sentence that you got. Um, Let me give an example. So, Brian Stevenson is still alive. His when he became a lawyer, he tried to work with or work for, like he was like working for people who were wrongly people who were on death row. And then Walter Macmillan, he took up his case and filed, like reopened the case. They still found him guilty. Then he appealed to the higher up. Even in the military, for example, in Nigeria and here, I know um, the police and the army are answerable to military police. Those guys are me. You see those guys wear caps. I know I've seen military police before deal with it. Like to when an army man, Nigerian army, aggressive army man is near military police, he's very humble. I've seen it before. But the problem is we don't reach out to the right quarters. So we complain. Now, rather than complain, I think we should start reaching out to the right quarters, right? Let me give you an example. So, I said something about work, my workplace. When my supervisor was misbehaving, I just talked to the manager. He was compromised. I mean, assistant manager was compromised. Now, I didn't bother talking to the manager because he was not available. The HR in charge of the district was already compromised because I've had dealings with her in the past. And then she said, "Oh, I'm comfortable with my decision." So I called her boss, and then it was annulled. The point is, people are gonna say, "Oh," like at the point they said the guy who calls corporates. I will not. It's better for you to go through the name calling and everything, and just to make sure that there's justice, fairness, and equity. So you don't go home and you're praying. The problem with Christians is we I think we misunderstand scriptures. I know there is one. We say, let me read the one. Let me read Matthew chapter 5. It says, "If anyone forces you to go on my go with him too. If anyone wants to sue you, take your shirt. Let him have your coat also. If someone, Luke chapter 6 verse 29 says, if someone strikes you on one cheek, turn to the other cheek." Okay, fine. But let me show you what Paul did. Let me show you what Paul did in Acts of the Apostles. So Paul was being judged and was going to be sent to, is it Jerusalem he was going to be sent to? So that he can be judged there. But he knew those guys were up to no good. What did he do? He appealed to Caesar. Paul appealed to Caesar, higher up. I mean, he took his chances. So Christ said, "Be wise as serpents and harmless as dogs." When I sense a hint of racism, I'll deal with you. That's what I meant. You think I'll go and carry gun? I don't have time. I will use the same system and hold you accountable, which is all I've been doing. Even when I was serving I was a youth copper. Our local inspector was using us core members to run the poultry. I had adverse, if like it had adverse effect on me. I think I was having itchy throat and everything. So I wrote to the state coordinator. They said I had symptoms of bird flu. I had to do what my point is, I did not stay complaining, oh God, deliver me. Mm-mm. Let's learn to do what we're supposed to do when we're supposed to. The next time there is a cop, a police officer who kills an innocent black person, yes, sensitize the public, post the video, let it go viral. Then when the judgment has been passed, if it's not okay, we should appeal to the court. If that court doesn't do well, you appeal to the higher court. If they don't do well, now, whatever court is the last magistrate or whatever, if they don't do well, you appeal to the international community. The thing is that everybody's accountable. See, that person you think is the highest is very accountable. You know, I think we should learn to make people accountable. Okay, somebody once asked me, so in the future, are you going to call the cops on me? You should not have a problem with getting the authorities involved if your hands are clean, except your hands are not clean. Let me read something in Romans. It said, let everyone, Romans chapter 13 for Christians, let everyone be subject to the governing authorities. For there is no authority except that which God has established. The authorities that exist have been established by God. Consequently, whoever rebels against the authority is rebelling against what God has instituted, and those who do so will bring judgment on themselves. For rulers hold no terror for those who do right, but for those who do wrong. Do you want to be free from fear of the one in authority? Then do what is right, and you will be commended. For the one in authority is God's servant for good. But if you do wrong, be afraid, for rulers do not bear the sword for no reason. They are God's servants, agents of wrath to bring punishment on wrongdoer. So therefore submit yourself to authorities, blah, 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 matter of conscience, and the rest of them. The point is, the system was instituted for a reason. There's a court, there's a police, there is, like, you complain, you didn't even call the cops, and you're complaining. You didn't even report to the court, and you're complaining. I think we should learn to hold people accountable. Yes, pray all you want, but contact the right quarters, contact the right authority. It's even like there are agencies. If you're in medical field, there are agencies. There's I don't know, like all those group of people that actually watch out for people who work in the medical field. There are agencies that watch out for people who work in the bank. These agencies are there for a reason. Did you know that even the United States Immigration and Services, Citizenship Services, they understand that when you're visiting the United States, that whoever is inviting you has a tendency of abusing you. So they give you a brochure, and say, if you see this, call this. Sometimes we don't because we're like, oh, I don't want to. But these systems are in place for a reason. My therapist told me in 2018, I didn't want to go ahead with something, and she said, if you don't file, if you don't do something about it, somebody else will go through the pain you went through. So it's better for you to put a stop to it now so that somebody else does not go through it. And I think that's what it's about for me now. That's why it's like, so that it doesn't happen to somebody else who might not have the strength that you have or I have. Some people might commit suicide, some people might just give up, some people might just, lose it. So I think it's high time we started reaching out to the right quarters and filing as they're supposed to file. Meanwhile, by the way, people like, there are people who are doing a good job anyway. Like I mentioned Brian Stevenson. And then there's Jane Elliott as well. I know Jane has been on her brown eye, blue eye thing for over 50 years now. She's white anyway. She's against racism. So there are people who are really doing what they can. And I think we should not cower and give. It's like China. China will be held accountable for all those things they're doing to black. Those black actually Igbos. They speak Igbo. They should be held accountable. It's not enough to just post and say, oh, it's not fair. I mean, it's good that our ambassadors got involved. If we're not satisfied with whatever decision is made, then you reach out to United Nations. Like, I mean, these things are, they're human beings. Reach out to them, get something done. Um, so once again, if there is, but I know there is a fear factor. Like, one of my coworkers was so scared. He's like, Indiga, I mean, I only got this job. I ain't got no other job. I'm like, so that's the thing. It's the trap. They know you're afraid of losing your job or something. So it's like bullying. Their presence is oppressing you, but then they think they know you won't want to do anything because you're afraid of losing the little thing you're gaining. But I mean, you have to man up. You can always get a job, you know. So I talked about military police, and then at work you might wonder, so who am I? Who am I subject to? Who is my authority at work? Is it my direct supervisor? Is it my manager? Here's the thing: the person that employed you is the company. Every company has a standard operating procedure (SOP). Like when I was in a bank, when I was trained in a bank, I was told, as a cashier, you are the one who's responsible for the cash you give out. Even if a manager were to sign on the check, make sure you post before you release money. See, because you will be held responsible. But that was training. Now at work, the pressure from the managers, oh boy, give me the money, give me the money, was there. So it was now left on you. I mean, my mom would say the onus was on you to now kind of delay a little bit, which I did. I got into trouble, and I got a query for 1.572 million. I can never forget. Because I tried to delay, he called me upstairs and then insulted me, and I released the cash. And when the customer left with the cash, we tried to debit the account that was frozen from another branch. But in that case, I was bullied, so it's different. When I wrote, I said he put pressure on me, so it's different from there was no pressure because I was called up, I was insulted, so I put everything down. What I'm trying to say is, you will be held responsible. And most times when they write memos, they say give us a reason why disciplinary action should not be taken against you. Now, I was told by my banking mentor, don't admit to a fault you didn't do, because if you do, and you're called by disciplinary committee, wherever it is corporate, they are going by what you wrote. So even if you're under pressure and then you sign, it's you signed it. I think I was telling somebody again recently, when you're giving, oh, I know who it was, my sister. When you're giving an agreement to sign, if there are blanks, don't sign. Like a landlord gives you an agreement to sign, he left everything blank, say just sign. I didn't sign. I always feel it completely, because once you put your signature, it means you've trusted them to put whatever it is there, and they can mess you up. So let's learn to be accountable ourselves, and then to hold people accountable the right way, and not just by ranting and posting online and making noise. Yes, let's raise the awareness online, but at the end of the day, that's what we're supposed to. Like that Steph, that was why she was concerned about reaching out to college, her college. It's not worth it threatening her life. Hey, you're gonna die. No, reaching out to college. Hey, this girl is racist. Is what she did. Goes to another college. Hey, this girl, like, make sure that she because if they reach out to her and then she's remorseful, they know how to handle it, right? But you don't just say, oh, it's a white world. Nah, let's learn to start holding people accountable the right way. The laws are there for a reason. Cops are subject to authorities. You know, even Buhari. You notice that once you leave power, that's when EFCC will come for you. So don't worry. When all these politicians leave, can now compare their case and then, because when you're in power, it's temporal. The point to be taken away from you, then you can, you know, be held accountable for what you've done. That's what I wanted to say. It's not enough to just pray and pray, oh God, deliver me. He gave you a brain for a reason. So let's learn to start using the right tools. Let's use the right keys for the right doors and not waving the key in the air. All right? Okay, bye guys.